PR Connections Radio presents. This podcast is brought to you by Envision U. Envision U has discovered how to impact spirit, body, and soul with spray technology in just 30 seconds. With Envision U, you can achieve optimal health and start living the life you have always dreamed of. Use the promo code envisionu.com/VernDix to take control of your health naturally.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PR Connections Radio show here at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am your host. And I am here with a good friend of mine and associate, Davin Sundvick. He is a real estate industry leader, no doubt about that, with Ethics Realty. And he's going to talk about some of the services that his company provides today. Welcome to the PR Connections show, Davin.
Awesome. Thank you very much for introducing me here, Guy.
Real estate is certainly an industry that a lot of people are interested in from so many different perspectives, Davin. I mean, people wanting to purchase homes to live in, people who are investors, such a broad industry. You know, what attracted you to want to get involved in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So my parents have been real estate investors on a small scale ever since I was a little kid and ever since I can remember. And so when I went to college, we had kind of went into business with each other to a certain degree, right? They bought a property for me to live in while I was in college, and the expectation you're going to hustle, you're going to rent out the rooms. Over the summer, you can do Airbnb was just becoming a really popular thing. And so we were kind of one of the, I don't want to say one of the first hosts, but we kind of got started on the ground floor with Airbnb and watching that platform grow. And it really inspired me when I saw the end result of that. When I was coming to my later years in college, I was like, dang, this made it a lot easier, not only on my parents financially for me to go to college, but on myself financially. And I started sharing it with other people, my experience, and then other people were interested in learning about real estate, investing on the investing side of it, not just the home buying side. And so I thought to myself, I should get a license because there's a lot of other realtors out there who they understand the home purchasing side very well, but they don't understand the investment side very well. And so I was really interested in the investment side at first. And then after I got into it a little bit more, I realized I was like, man, there's a lot of homeowners that could easily invest as well. And so we channeled into focusing on homeowners who, if they want to invest, we are investment capable, meaning we have all the tools and resources capable to helping people grow and build their wealth. But we're really focused on the average everyday person that wants to either buy a home or grow their wealth, start a business even. We've then expanded into commercial real estate and business brokering as well. So that's where it all got started, but that's where we're at now.
Yeah, that developing that type of mindset, Davin, I guess you were really fortunate to have been raised in a family where your parents already had an understanding of the value of real estate, and they felt highly enough of you to introduce you to this, to set you up on a career course that is going to be so impactful over the course of your life. You're already reaping the benefits of understanding real estate, and you've got a big career ahead of you.
Oh yeah, my parents didn't go easy on me. I mean, they pretty much told me, they're like, hey, like you have to really step up with the chores around the house for the next couple of years. This was, when I was in my later years of high school. They're like, you're gonna have to prove that you can take care of a house on your own, before we do this. So this was not something that was like a spare of the moment decision. It was something that was planned way in advance, and it took both people, and obviously my parents had their boundaries in order to help me. So yeah, people sometimes think I just got an easy start, but no, I had to prove myself. Like with anything, if you're good with a very small amount, it just shows that you can be awarded some great opportunity. So
And those fundamental principles, how are they influencing the way that you're approaching business at this point? Because now you've had, a decade, maybe more than a decade of being involved in the industry. How do those fundamental principles influence your decisions now?
Yeah, it impacts how we hire agents and how we train agents. And I was talking to a pastor about our model of how we do things, and I just kind of went into the details with him, and he put it into two really simple words that really clarifies how we do things, and it's an empowerment model, right? So we focus on equipping agents and making sure that the more successful they are, the longer their leash is to go explore and do new things, right? And the narrower their focus is when they first join the brokerage. That way we can keep them aligned and focused. And so I think of how I was raised, where you don't just have like the longest leash in the world to do whatever you want. It's like, hey, look, there's this responsibility and it leads to this opportunity. And so I guess you could say that's how my upbringing has affected my leadership style. And it's worked well for quite a few agents in our brokerage at this point. So, yeah.
And in terms of, so being a realtor is one thing, being a broker is another. Would you like to share with the audience about the distinction between being a realtor and a broker?
Absolutely. So a realtor can be anybody of any license category. So they hold a real estate license and they are affiliated with the National Association of Realtors. So essentially you agree to take an oath that says you're going to help homeowners, with the best of your abilities. You're going to be competent, right? You're going to go through ongoing training and you're going to hold yourself to a high standard. Being a broker is a license category. So when you first get started, you can get started as what's called a salesperson's license. So you have to work for a broker. Then you can upgrade to what's called a broker salesperson, where you can manage an office underneath a corporate broker. And then I have what's called like a corporate license, right? So I can hire business brokers. I can hire regular agents to work for me. And so what that allows me to do is it allows me to structure the company in a way where my agents are successful and my clients are successful. So when you work with a realtor who's maybe on a lower level, they're still kind of subject to whatever the policies of their brokerage are. And sometimes those policies are in the way of client success and in favor of company profits, right? At our company, I try to balance both, right? Obviously, the company has to be sustainable, but at the same time, the customer, in my opinion, success matters above everything else. That's the primary focus. So that's how it impacts the way that we do business. And me holding that license, yes, it takes a lot of responsibility, but it also gives a lot of freedom to our clients.
Right. You're able to be sort of the captain of the ship and develop a team of people to be able to service your clients. And of course, you can train them on all the things that you've learned, all these realtors that you're bringing in, developing your business model to really be able to service the customers, I would imagine, Davin, at a higher level, just because of the fact that you've got this brokerage and you've developed truly a business. Really great approach.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're a really large company, you can focus and just hone in on just one thing maybe and maybe have a system on how you do it. But what I've found is there's a lot of people that don't necessarily work with that traditional system. They need somebody who has more skills and they're more nimble. And so that's what we really specialize in, is you take one client and we can handle the big picture approach. Hey, you might own a commercial property, maybe you own a business, and you own a residence, and maybe even a rental property. And how does that wealth move as you're entering into your retirement years, or when you're first starting out? How are you going to grow to amass all that wealth in the first place? We create plans for both types of people. So.
Let's talk about residential real estate. Owning a home in America, it's the American dream. It is for many people the largest investment that they ever make over the course of their lifetime is the home that they purchase. As someone who helps people to achieve the American dream or to make the biggest investment that they may ever make in their entire lives, what is your approach to that? I know you've got first-time home buyers, people who have bought homes in the past. How do you work with people to help them to achieve what it is that they aspire to do in terms of purchasing residential properties?
Absolutely. We come from an end in mind approach, meaning it's way more effective to think about the long-term results that somebody wants to see in their life, because that person is going to make multiple real estate purchases. We don't live in the day and age where a 25-year-old can feasibly, unless they have some kind of a head start, or maybe they got a lucky break and they're making a significant amount of money. It takes time in order to build the kind of income to qualify for those what people would call their dream home or their forever home. And so we like to show people, hey, look, this home is a stepping stone on where you're going to get to maybe your dream home or your forever home, instead of just not purchasing at all. That's what we've seen a lot of younger people are turning to, is just never purchasing. And so we try to have that end in mind approach to say, hey, look, this piece of real estate has to last you a long period of time, because we certainly don't want you moving every 3 years, because that's insanely expensive. But honestly, moving every 10 to 15 years is about perfect for most of our clients. And so we try to aim where their home is going to build some wealth in order to get them to that next point.
And of course, the thrill that most people have, I know when I purchased my first home, Davin, and someone, the realtor came by and brought the keys and the deal was done. It's a feeling of that's really hard to describe. And so for you being the person that helped to make that happen, of course, you're in business to make money in order to maintain your company. But as far as the connection that you have with that person, maybe that young first-time home buyer, where you've got the keys and you hand them over to that person, I would imagine that's a very rewarding experience for you as well.
It's an incredibly gratifying experience, because you get to be involved with, honestly, even if it's not the biggest purchase of their life, it's certainly the most important purchase of their life that's going to affect their day-to-day life, right? I mean, without shelter, it's incredibly difficult to live, right? And so, putting people into something that you can say like, wow, like that's going to last for a while, and that more importantly, that money is still going to be there. When I first got into sales, it was really hard for me to watch people's money. Like, it's like, okay, well, what's it going to do for them, right? Is that money still there, right? Is it an asset, right? So, to see people purchasing an asset is definitely a gratifying experience for sure.
And there are people in our audience who might have heard of commercial real estate, but might not understand what it actually is. Could you describe to the audience what commercial real estate represents?
Yep, absolutely. So when most people who are in the commercial real estate field, when they reference commercial real estate, they're usually actually talking about leasing, which is when the business is trying to occupy space, right? So that's the vast majority of the activity that happens in commercial real estate. Purchases and actual acquisitions are actually quite rare. So a lot of people think that, when they're a business owner and they need to go find space for their business, they need to contact a property manager directly. That's usually not the case. It's actually way more efficient to protect your information by going with a commercial realtor that already has those relationships. So for example, like Guy, if you were to go call, a commercial agent, you're like, hey, I want to go tour this building. They're going to ask for proof of funds and all that kind of stuff, versus me. If I say, hey, I've got a client who's interested in touring this building, and they go, hey, you've shown us multiple pre-qualified buyers in the past, or multiple pre-qualified tenants in the past, we're going to go ahead and let you in. And so it's incredibly impactful for information protection when you're leasing. On the other side, purchasing and selling commercial real estate, we typically call that investment real estate. And so investment real estate is the ability to acquire or dispose of a property. And the financing can be quite complicated. So we go over strategy, and again, just like with home buyers, right? Your first building that you acquire may not be the building that your business stays in forever. Your business might outgrow that. And so what we do is we create a plan in advance, like, hey, look, this is a strategy on how we're going to use the least amount of money to accomplish the maximum goal, right? Because if your business is spending money on real estate, it's not investing in itself, doing other things. So we want to make sure that capital is wisely used. So that's what commercial real estate is really all about, is making sure that capital is used more efficiently on the investment side. And then on the location side, that information is protected.
How would a person know if they're ready to make a commercial real estate purchase? As you mentioned, it's a lot more complicated than a residential purchase. When is a person in a position to actually do that?
Yeah. The first one is if you own a business. Every business will consume some level of real estate. And a lot of people would say, well, my business is remote. It consumes zero real estate, but you live in a home, right? So your business is consuming some real estate, right? Even if you're just simply in a home. Another aspect to your business is if you say, hey, I need a really loyal ecosystem and network of businesses that need to occupy commercial real estate, right? So we just established every business occupies some level of real estate, because your laptop sitting on a desk is still occupying real estate. But certain businesses that need to occupy real estate, if you purchase that building and you are, filling it up with tenants that are strategic for your business, it can help your business increase in value and prepare you to sell your business. So if you are maybe 10 years to 5 years away from selling your business, I would highly look into, at minimum, shopping around and seeing what it can do for you. The other person that needs to invest in commercial real estate is somebody who has a massive portfolio from doing something else, right? Let's just say you own 10 rental properties that are all single family residential. Well, if something happens to the real estate market for residential real estate, you're incredibly exposed to only residential real estate. So by investing in commercial, it can reduce some of your risks and exposure, but it can also give you a lot of upside in case there's inflation. So typically in high inflationary environments, commercial real estate, residential real estate do very, very well. In recessions, commercial real estate tends to do really poorly. And then in incredible booming markets, sometimes surprisingly residential real estate can lag behind. And so it can kind of balance out your portfolio a little bit. If you're at that level where you've taken on a substantial amount of risk in just one asset.
I would imagine that a lot of people approach you, Davin, because they're going to buy a house or they're going to buy an office building, and they may not recognize the educational value of working with you, just to be able to explain these types of simple yet in some ways very complicated aspects of the way that real estate works. Seems like education is a big piece of what you provide to your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have a degree in business. Obviously in business, you have to take marketing classes, well-rounded. And so I do bring that to the table. And I would say a very small percentage of clients actually use the full capability of me, let alone any realtor that's out there. Certainly most realtors don't have a brokerage license. And so they're not required to have the same level of education as I'm required to. But just in general, most people don't ask their realtor enough questions. So certainly if you want to build some wealth and you've got questions on how to do it, I mean, we are here for these kind of things. Yeah.
In terms of being a business broker, there's another term that the
Yeah.
general public might not be very familiar with. Would you be willing to explain what a business broker does?
Absolutely. So when you go to sell a business, right, you can choose to sell it yourself. There's no laws requiring you to go through a brokerage, or you can sell it through a broker, which is what I would do, and I sell it on your behalf. And some of the benefits of that are a lot of people simply don't know the value of their business in the first place. So they incorrectly price their business and then it doesn't sell. And then the problem is when a business sits on the market, it loses actual value. Unlike real estate, a lot of people think that, oh, if I price my real estate too high, then it goes down in value. There might be temporary perceptions of loss of value with a piece of real estate, but generally speaking, there is an intrinsic value of real estate, and it is going up most of the time as it's listed. So sometimes you'll have a list price, the home's priced here, and then a home eventually just rises in value to the list price and it sells. That will not happen with a business at least 99% of the time. A business will not increase in value until it reaches its sell point. So having an intermediary who can properly value it is critical. And then another weird aspect of selling a business is the more people you tell that the business is for sale, the lower the value of the business is, which is the exact opposite to real estate. In real estate, the more people that you tell that a piece of property is for sale, the higher odds of you finding the perfect buyer. And the perfect buyer will always overpay for a piece of real estate. So, so that's just the fundamentals there, right? So, I mean, yeah. So having a business broker to help you navigate that sale is definitely going to increase the value of your sale. But they can also do it in a way to where it's impersonal, right? Because I don't have all the years of emotion built into the business, right? When someone's approaching me interested in buying a business, I can really see if that's the right buyer before I introduce them to the business. And if they're not the right buyer, that business stays protected again. Same thing when we talked about commercial real estate. When a business is looking to lease a property, that business's information is incredibly valuable. We live in the information age. And so giving out too much information hurts your negotiating position. Same thing with selling a business. Giving out too much information hurts your negotiation position. So we protect your position. And that's another thing that we do. We can also advise people on how to increase their business's value. This is a little bit more speculative. There's a lot of things that go into a business valuation, but we could, in theory, say, hey, this aspect of your business, a lot of buyers would not like. And so if you take some time to fix it, it could make your business easier to sell.
Being able to remove yourself or being detached enough from the business in order to be able to provide good advice for the owner as they're putting their business up for sale. I think that's valuable, Davin. Being a business owner and knowing how invested we get in our companies. Like you're very invested in your company. And so when you're very invested in your company, being able to see the forest beyond the trees can be challenging. And I could definitely see how having a broker with that more of a detached perspective could be helpful in positioning you to get everything that you are truly understanding the value of your business. To me, my business is so valuable to me because I've invested a lot in it. And in the marketplace, it may not necessarily reflect that.
No, right. It's kind of like a car, right? Like if you purchase a car and you love that car, it doesn't mean that everybody else loves that car. You know what I mean? And honestly, like businesses are a lot like cars. Like if you don't maintain them, they go down in value incredibly fast. So that's why we also advise. Like that's why I said, hey, if you're a business owner, you're thinking about selling your business in 5 to 10 years, purchase the commercial real estate asset because that's going to have way more tangible value in 5 to 10 years than your business will, most likely. And I use the word most likely that just because Most businesses sell underneath about 500,000 or 300,000 in certain areas. So, and that's a super profitable business that's selling for 300,000 or 500,000 versus that piece of real estate that they purchased for $1 million. That could be in 5 to 10 years, that could easily be worth double, versus the business will most likely not double in 5 to 10 years in value.
Right. So with such a broad array of services that Ethics Realty has to offer, it seems like you can capture a lot of different aspects of the market out there. You've got, again, the person that wants to purchase that dream home, or they want to upgrade from a home that they're already in. Then you have definitely for the entrepreneur, or the business owner, or the investor that potentially purchasing this commercial property, something that they can build wealth upon. I guess, all three of them are wealth building tools, but they've all got different ways that you approach delivering or growing in wealth. And then, of course, as a business broker, you're able to help people. They've built up an asset over time, and now you're helping them to be able to sell that asset to someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's multiple, like you said, there's multiple different wealth building assets. And a lot of people, they may get interested in real estate investing. They may get interested in starting a business from something that they see online. And there's nothing wrong with online resources. But sometimes having a person that's actually in your corner, that's incentivized for you to succeed. Like, I win when my clients win, because when my clients win, they buy more real estate and I make more real estate commissions. So it's really that simple, right? Like, if they don't win, I don't keep the client, right? So that's incredibly valuable. Like when to deploy certain assets, and when to hold back and say, hey, let's just keep what we've got for right now. That's also incredibly important. There's a lot of people out there that'll they're really itching to get you to sell something, and maybe it's not the right time for you personally to sell it. The market could be high, and that's great, but it doesn't necessarily match with your strategy. So,
yeah, having the right person to guide you when you're making as important of a purchase as either a residential real estate purchase, or a commercial real estate purchase, or buying and selling a business. I just think it's so important that you have that person to hold your hand through that process. It really have such an impact on how profitable it turns out to be over the long haul. And again, Davin, knowing your commitment to that, having seen it, and you and I, again, we've been associates for quite a while. And I know that you are very committed to the success of your clients, because, as you mentioned, their success means your success.
Absolutely.
That's the approach. That's a good approach to business for those of you out there. You work with somebody that's their success is invested in your success, and they're open and they tell you that. And in that way, that means they're going to go out there and hustle and put you in the best position to do well in a business transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And in keyword, put you in the best position, right? Like, a lot of the work that we do is prep work. It's just like if you work in construction, most of if you're painting, most of the work is just taping things down and making sure you're not going to make a mess. It's the same thing in real estate. The vast majority of our work is in preparation. So we never want people to think that it's too early to give us a call. Like, if you're a year away from a residential real estate purchase, or you're thinking about your next acquisition, like, call us, and we'll work you through that.
Yeah, just fantastic education today, Davin. And I'm again knowing your passion about real estate and how much you have invested in your education from a young age. I feel that you're going to be in good hands when you reach out to Ethics Realty for your commercial or residential or business broker services. I just wish you nothing but continued success, and they can get a hold of you at this number that's very prominently been displayed throughout this interview, 702-518-1606. Anything you'd like to tell the audience out there before we close out the interview today, Davin?
Yeah, we've got some free educational real estate resources on Instagram and Facebook. So feel free to check us out and hit us up on social media to stay tuned for some of the information and education we're going to freely give out to the public.
All right. Yep. Reach out to Ethics Realty for all your real estate and business broker needs. And again, keep fighting the good fight out there, Davin. And you know why I always do that? Because my kid's name is Davin. And I've been flipping back and forth with you, Davin and Davin. And this is crazy. Every once in a while, I'll think about my kid, right?
Yeah. Between Devin and Gavin, my name confuses a lot of people, but yes, it is Davin. Yeah.
I love how you always roll with the punches with it, though, Davin. Yeah. Well, keep up all your great work. And for those of you, again, hey, you're looking for someone that'll take great care of you. I know that Davin will.
All right. Thank you, Guy.
All right. Keep tuning into shows here at prconnectionsradio.com. Visit our website. And again, we have so many audio streaming sites that you can now listen to our podcasts, including this one. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and so many more. So enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And again, reach out to Davin Sundvick with Ethics Realty for your real estate needs. Take care of yourself and see you soon.
PR Connections Radio presents